questions. First one, this is your first time in China. What do you expect from the Chinese fans? If you'd like to choose one song.
Well, yes, this is our first time coming here. We've tried several times to come here, but for whatever reason, it didn't work out. Sometimes it was the building, sometimes it was timing, so on and so forth. And what I think the fans can expect is, we're going to be playing with, as much integrity as we can. We love to play, and being here for our first time, we want to make, the fans know how much we have relationships with them. Like some of the other countries we go to, we've been there many times, and you become friends with the audience, and we want to have that same kind of feeling here so that it doesn't feel like it's our first time, so that we can feel like we're all friends.
Okay. With 2 new members and a new album coming next year, what's the difference between this new Megadeth and the old one?
What's the difference with the new Megadeth and the old one? I don't really think that there's a lot of difference. I think that it comes down to style and playing. I think that Kiko is a great guitar player. He has a lot of talent in a lot of different areas, which helps because Megadeth music is not just straightforward metal. It's got a lot of different twists and turns and stuff like that. And everybody knows Chris Adler's a beast, so I think that if anybody's heard Fatal Illusion, they can tell that this record, we have a lot of energy for this record. And Chris reminds me a lot of Gar Samuelson with his playing because he's very jazzy. And I think that was really great to be able to add that style to drumming because we haven't really had exciting drumming for a while. It's been pretty straightforward. It's kind of like after we had Gar and then we got Chuck Beeler. Chuck was like a straightforward punk rock drummer. And not that he wasn't bad. Chuck was a great drummer. It's just different.
So let's talk about new album coming next January, right?
Mm-hmm.
Will there be some old stuff to be used in the new songs? Like do you use some old stuff from some new work order from 12-13?
Well, there's nothing left over from any of the old records, so to speak. It wasn't like I'd written a song and took a part out and never used it. It was just stuff that this record had some stuff that had been written and never used. I never had a part that I wanted to do because I have an archive of all my music that I've written that I haven't used yet. And I think the excitement of being with Kiko and Chris also helped raise the level of knowing what I could do with a musician. If when I would say stuff to Kiko, I would say like, okay, let's do this part and let's harmonize that part. He would do it. And it was exciting for me to be able to do that. It's like if someone says, hey, go, jump over that house and the guy can do it, it's like, oh, great.
Megadeth played unplugged shows and played with orchestra.
No.
There's like a symphony orchestra.
No, that's a different band. We've done unplugged shows, but not with an orchestra.
Okay. So will Megadeth cooperate with other artists or play the music in other ways?
It depends. It's really kind of hard to answer. I would say yes instead of saying no, because if I say no, then all the great opportunities will go away. I think by saying yes, that I can choose. I can wait and see who I want to play with. There's a lot of people out there that I like that I would love to collaborate with, but this is about Megadeth, and if it's a Megadeth collaboration, I think that there's enough talent with Chris and with Kiko now added to the band that we don't really have to look for someone else.
We all know that in the 80s, thrash metal and glam metal, they are rebels, right? And nowadays, what do you think of glam metal bands like Motley Crue?
Well, I'm not going to say anything bad about Motley Crue, but I still hate glam metal.
Okay, in 80s, we talk about metal music, we were talking about like Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer. Nowadays, when we talk about metal music, we're still talking about Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer. So, are the new bands that are not good enough?
No, that's a loaded question. I'm not going to say that new bands aren't good enough. I think that when you look at the originators of a musical scene, you're always going to go back and say, well, these guys are the ones that started it. And it's really a high mark to expect a new band to compete with Megadeth or to compete with Slayer. So I don't think that it's a matter of not being good enough. I think that, there's only so much you can do with your guitar that hasn't been done already. You know what I mean? And it's a lot easier with a band like us where we don't sound like somebody else. There's a lot of bands like Crocus. I don't remember if you remember that band. Crocus sounded like AC/DC when they came out, and everyone thought, yeah, So I like to be original.
So, Gary Hall from Axel said you are like a jazz player in metal music. So, like in the and the Megadeth always are in a very different level from the thrash dance. So, would you feel a little lonely in the metal scene?
Do I feel lonely?
Yeah, like you are
Why, do you need a hug?
No, not that mean. I mean, like you were quite different from the all thrash metal bands, like because of playing the jazz way.
Why would you want to do something somebody else has already done? I think that in order to be, so that she'll remember me, I don't want to be like somebody else. I want to be myself. I want to be original. And Gary's a really close friend of mine, and an amazing guitar player, so I appreciate that. It would have been different if he would have said, yeah, you sound like a glam guitar player. Just kidding. Just kidding. But I think that with Gary, he's a good enough guitar player where if he says, that you sound like a jazz player, because jazz playing is really hard. There's a lot of really exotic chords and time changes and time signatures and stuff, and I think that may be what he means, because Megadeth doesn't stick to straight verse, chorus, solo, chorus, see you later kind of thing. It's always been different. We've had songs that don't even have choruses.
So what's the biggest influence of Megadeth music? I heard you are like a Judas Priest fan.
I like Judas Priest, but they didn't influence me. I think if you want to know what my musical influences were, like growing up, I liked the Beatles and Led Zeppelin, but that didn't really influence my guitar playing so much. For me, what influenced my guitar playing was more the new wave of British heavy metal. Yeah, but Angel Witch only had one good song that I liked. I didn't know them that much. I think they're a great band, but it was more like real early Diamond Head, Merciful Fate, Iron Maiden when they first came out. Huh?
First two album Maiden, right?
They had a lot of great records in the beginning. So for me, it's the approach to playing guitar. A lot of American bands will play chords, and a lot of the British approach would be riffs. So I'm a very riff-oriented player, and I think that that's what probably sets us apart from a lot of the other bands that were out when we first came out.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Do I get to keep the doll? Thanks.
What do you think about China this time?
Well, this is my first time. The only other time I've been here was connecting through the airport, going to Singapore. So I can tell you very little about China. Looking at China from afar, from American shores, it's been very mysterious and someplace we wanted to come to. I find it very interesting to me because of being in martial art ever since I was a kid. I've always loved the Orient, the difference with the styles with China, Korea, Japan, the different martial arts styles and everything. I really learned a lot about it. So I've always wanted to come here, and I think now it's a great opportunity for us to start building that relationship. It takes time when you're coming as far as we've had to come from the States to come over here. I mean, you don't really hear a bunch of Chinese metal bands going to America.
Have you ever considered play or travel around China or Beijing, Shanghai, somewhere?
Have I considered traveling?
Traveling, yeah, in Beijing or in Shanghai. Like a Great Wall. Like Great Wall.
Oh, yeah, of course. I think that's a thing that as a tourist you'd want to see, but my job is to come here and play. It's not to go sightseeing. If I have free time, I would love to go sightseeing because I think that there's many amazing wonders and history to this country. But my job is to be ready for the concert tomorrow night. And, if we would have come earlier and I had more time to rest to get over jet lag, sure, I would do that. If we stayed longer, would love to do that. But my sole purpose right now is to be ready for the show tomorrow.
There's so many bands that admire Megadeth, like see Megadeth as the battles.
对，所以有什么金属乐上的想法要对我们的乐队要说的吗？
So there's some advice to Chinese young metal bands or to the guitar players, to Chinese guitar players.
Advice. Well, I guess there's a lot to say. I think the best thing to learn is it's a lot easier to change a no to a yes. Because if someone says, "Hey, do you want to go do something?" I say, "For right now, no, but I may change my mind." Instead of saying yeah and then figure, I hate this guy. I don't want to go anywhere with him. So that's really important, is having boundaries. It's important also in the music business in America. I don't know if it's the same over here, to have a good attorney. It's important if you're going to sign anything to read it. Don't put your name on something if you don't know what it says. And probably the most important thing is, if you're going to get in a band with somebody, make sure you like them.
所有人都知道马大卫是麦克斯主唱，当和乐队出现分歧的时候会怎么处理
Okay, we all know that you are the mastermind behind Megadeth. So when you write some songs and there's like a little difference between you and your band members, what would that like? How could Megadeth do with the music?
Well, the best idea wins. So if their idea is better than my idea, it's not that it's good because it's my idea. It's whatever's best for the song. I like to do things the right way, not because it's my way. I like to do it right. If it was your idea and you're right, great, let's do it. So we've had people that we've played with over the years that have been really great players, but couldn't write a song to save their life. And I think you have to, as a good leader, you have to know what people's limitations are. You have to know what their strengths and weaknesses are. For example, Gar was a great drummer, but he didn't write songs. Chuck was a great drummer, didn't write songs. And Nick wrote a little bit, but you have to know when a person has the ability to do something. If they don't know how to write songs, and you're saying, "Come on, man, give me a song, you never write anything," that has the reverse effect on you. It can hurt you in the long run. Instead of encourage you, it can discourage you. So.
经历了将近30年，然后觉得现在的12 metal 的乐坛跟80年代有什么变化
It has been 30 years of thrash metal singing. So what's the difference between the beginning of nowadays thrash thing?
Not living in a car. I think if you look at the scene, in the beginning, metal music was a way of life, and now there's a lot of people that. I was watching a movie on the plane, and some guy put a T-shirt on that was one of the big four guys, and I was, it's going to take a lot more than a T-shirt to make this guy cool, and I think a lot of people, they think, putting on a Megadeth shirt makes them edgy, there's a lot of people in the States right now, a lot of uber celebrities that are wearing Megadeth stuff, like Lady Gaga and the Kardashians and stuff like that, and to me it's like, I know Lady Gaga's a fan of ours, but I don't think the Kardashians know one song. And that's a situation where somebody puts something on to make them look edgy, So I would never wear a Kardashian shirt.
Yeah.
No.
Could you introduce your new album to the Chinese fans?
Sure.
Introduction.
Just, "Hi, I'm Dave. This is my new record, Dystopia," that kind of thing. Like that? You want me to say this?
他的新作品新专辑，就是现在是怎么歌都做完了吗？还是准备要发行，还是什么程度？现在
the process of the new album, like, will be released next January. If you want, you're talking about.
Give me some details.
Yeah, details.
But do you want me to introduce it like you're on the air, or just say, talk about it?
Talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, the new record's called Dystopia, and it's going to be out January 22nd in the States. I'm not sure what the release date will be over here because internationally there's so many different territories. So it's kind of hard to keep track of them all. I know we just released Fatal Illusion recently. We're getting ready to do a video for 2 songs when we go back home. I know we plan on releasing another single before the record comes out, and there's 11 songs on the record. We have 4 bonus tracks for different releases in different territories. We recorded a song by Budgie, Melt the Ice Away, which was on a record I heard back in 1976 that I really liked. And then we did a song by a band called Fear. Fear is a punk rock band, because when I was a kid I was a punk rock surfer. So I liked punk rock a lot, and Fear was one of my favorite bands. So they had a song called Foreign Policy. And I thought, man, look how messed up America's foreign policy is right now. It's a perfect time to do that song.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.